Overtime. One word, one compound word, 8 little letters. For us hockey fans, especially playoff hockey fans, overtime is the sweetest word in the English language, and we got a lot of it today. Now, last night was the first. Yesterday was the first day of this of round one of this year's playoffs that didn't see overtime. All 4 games ended in 60 minutes, but today, 3 games out of 5 went to playoff overtime, beginning with the first game of the day, the Islanders and Washington. Ugh. Washington is in deep trouble. They are. They really are. And I don't. It's amazing. I mean, Ovechkin only had one shot today, and that was in overtime. But he did get an assist, so that's a point. So that's something. But even so, Washington is pretty much screwed. The Islanders won Game 3 in overtime. Matthew Barzal broke away and put it in right after Jacob Vrana broke away and was stopped. So Vrana's going to have nightmares tonight. But anyway, the Islanders have a commanding 3-0 lead. To be honest, I knew the Islanders were going to beat Washington out. I just knew it. And I kind of based it on last year when they swept Pittsburgh. I knew they were going to beat Washington, but I thought it would be closer than this. I actually had the series being, after 3 games, I had it being 2-1 one way or the other. I certainly didn't have 3-0 Washington. And to be honest, 3-0 Islanders is a surprise. This team is not messing around. And they're going to whammy. It looks like they're going to whammy Ovechkin like they whammied Crosby last year. And, of course, speaking of overtime, Dallas and Calgary, the second game of the schedule, they went to playoff overtime. Calgary pretty much had this one. They were up 4-3 late. A Dallas game tying goal was negated due to GI, goaltender interference. But with 10 seconds left, Joe Pavelski, that name makes Avs fans sick. Joe Pavelski tied the game. That was his third goal of the game. His first career playoff hat trick, and the first in Dallas Stars history. I have to emphasize Dallas because, as far as team history, they have one. Their last one came in the early '80s, but this is back when the team was in Minnesota, known as the North Stars. But this is the first time. This is the first hat trick. This is the first playoff hat trick in the team's history since they moved to Dallas. And while Joe Pavelski got the hat trick, it was Alexander Radulov who was the hero in that game. They originally credited the goal to John Klingberg, but Klingberg's shot was tipped in by Radulov. So the Stars won 5-4 in overtime, and now it is really a series. After 4 games, it's what I like to call the Chuck Rory series, 2-2. We got our first elimination game of round 1, but there's no elimination because the Blackhawks stayed alive because Corey Crawford finally decided to be an NHL goaltender and stop preventable goals. Crawford stopped 46 out of 47 Vegas shots. Chicago won 3-1. And now they're down 3-1. They were facing elimination after losing the first 3. Now, I think Hawks fans are talking reverse sweep. Of course, reverse sweep. That phrase is especially used in best of 7 series because they're much longer, and winning 4 straight after losing the first 3 is supposed to be virtually impossible. Though it has been done 4 times in NHL history: in 1942, in 1975, in 2010, and in 2014. That was the last time. Of course, a reverse sweep is when, in a best of 7 series, a team down 3-0 faces elimination at the most 4 times, wins the next 4. And it's and like I said, it's been done 4 times, but it's hard to do. It's hard to do because the reverse sweep talk doesn't really start until after that said team trying to do it is halfway through it. Because if you win Game 4, the sentiment is, well, at least you're not going to get swept. You might get ousted, but at least you're not going to get swept. That's the sentiment. So that's just one win. If you win Game 2, you stay alive, and it becomes a bit serious because Game 6 can be a bit of a crapshoot. If you come out swinging, you'll win it. If you don't, you lose it. And this is kind of true either way, whether you're the team that's up 3-2 and could clinch, or the team that's facing elimination down 3-2. And if you win game 6, game 7 is a guaranteed crapshoot. It's 50-50. It's do or die. But yeah, so no reverse sweep talk yet. But it should be interesting. Philly was next, and Philly, well, received the good news that Oscar Lindblom rejoined the team. Of course, Lindblom had been battling a form of cancer, and every hockey fan has rallied with him, especially since it's come right after Brian Boyle survived cancer as well. Philly was good for the goose, is good for the gander. Montreal shut them out in game 2, so Philly shuts them out tonight. Philly won 1-0. Jacob Voracek got the goal, and Carter Hart picked up his first career playoff shutout. So Philly regained their series lead 2-1. And finally, the champs were in action, and I read they decided to bench Bennington to start Jake Allen. Interesting move, but it ended up working out. That game went to overtime, tied at 2, and it was Braden Shen who broke away within the final 5 minutes of the extra period and put it in. His first career playoff OT goal. St. Louis won 3-2, and now they're in it. This is the first playoff game, really, that St. Louis has won this year, because they lost all 3 round-robin games, and they lost the first 2 games of the series. So now St. Louis is in it. It's a 2-1 series. It's a 2-1 series deficit for the defending champs, and now it's the 2018 champs, who are the only team that haven't won a game in this first round. So yeah, so today made up for yesterday. There was no overtime yesterday. We got 3 to 5 games with overtime today. A grand total of 7 overtime games this year's first round. Though there have been more. Though count the qualifying round, there have been more than that. But as far as the 8 series, 6 of the 8 series experienced playoff overtime at least once so far. The St. Louis Vancouver series is the only one to have 2 games go to overtime. There have been 2 multi-overtime games in round 1, and the 2 series that have yet to experience playoff overtime: Montreal and Philly, and Colorado, Arizona. Ugh. But so yeah, playoff. A joke I have said recently is I love playoff overtime just as long as we're not in it. No, but yeah, bring it on. We can Avalanche can handle an extra period and put that puck in. But anyway, speaking of the Avalanche, we are part of tomorrow's action as round 1 marches on. Tomorrow it's 4-game slate, no elimination games, and it starts with the very interesting Tampa Bay Columbus series. Tampa has the series lead 2-1. That's at 3 Eastern, noon here in the West Coast. After that, it's the Avalanche and Coyotes, Game 4. Avs still lead that series 2-1, and we're trying to make it 3-1. So that's at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 here in the West Coast. Boston, Carolina. Boston's up 2-1, winning Game 3 just moments after Tuukka Rask opted out. And that's at 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And the final game, it's St. Louis and Vancouver. Yes, they're playing back-to-back. They got to do it again after doing overtime in Game 3. But St. Louis is going to try to even this thing out. My prediction in that series was St. Louis at 7. I still think they should pull this off, though it might take a lot of doing if Vancouver wins and takes a commanding 3-1 lead. They're going to have to really buckle down and come back from that. But yeah, so that's the quartet of games coming up tomorrow. No elimination games. The next elimination game is Tuesday, and that's Game 4 between Washington and the Islanders. Washington's going to try to break those Brooms. And Game 5 between Chicago and Vegas. Now, Chicago did break the Brooms today, but they're going to try to keep hope alive and try and force a 6th game. So that's my recap of Day 6 of the opening round of this year's amazing Stanley Cup Playoffs. I certainly enjoyed this. I certainly enjoyed this day. All the overtime, all single periods, though. they were kind of long periods. They went down to the wire. A couple of them went down to the wire. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. So that's my review of today's action. I'll be back tomorrow night to recap everything that happened in the 4 games that took place. So until then, fellow hockey fans.